Welcome to this edition of Free Promo Tips Success Tracks. And today we are pleased to bring you Maurice DiMino, the Sicilian Mentor. Maurice is an award-winning Toastmaster. He just got back from doing a TED event in San Diego and has done presentations all around the country. Today, Maurice is going to be talking about 3 things that every business person needs to know. And in order to bring you this content, we do it with the support of a few great companies. And so we need to thank our good friends over there at Snugs USA, also Warwick Publishing, just another terrific supplier, and the fine folks at AIA. These are businesses that understand the value of education. They're supportive of what Free Promo Tips is doing to bring you relevant industry content and business building material. And so it's with their support we're able to do all these fine things for you. Now, in this session, Evans Manufacturing is contributing Italian cookware, and it ties in so nicely with the Sicilian Mentor. And a little bit of back history on this. When we were working on branding strategies for the Sicilian Mentor, we came up with the idea of using this cookware, and it's just been a big hit, so much so that we can't even pry this stuff out of Grandma DiMino's hands. It's just amazing. And when we think about using this type of product for branding, it's awesome because it's in the kitchen all the time. It's getting used. That brand is being seen. So it's just really effective. And we appreciate Evans for being a part of this SuccessTracks session. If you want to get samples of this cookware and learn more about it, you can go to the product showcase section of FreePromoTips.com. Now, without any further ado, we're just going to sort of drop in on Maurice's session. Enjoy.
I would like to over-deliver. I would like to honor your time, your investment, and your effort to make it here today. So I'm going to be sharing with you key information. I know that Jeff has only given me a little bit amount of time, and being Sicilian, I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it to the envelope, Jeff, here with the people that are attending. So what I like to do is I want to just share a little bit about myself. Prior to being a speaker for over the last 10 years, I was in sales myself, and I sold, as you see here, this is what's known as post-production equipment. I sold and rented editing equipment to the film and TV industry here in Los Angeles. Well, if you know anything about this equipment, I mean, just take a look at this. It is all computer-based, and if you know anything about me, I am computer illiterate. Jeff had to hold me by the hand to get me going with this webinar, and thank you, Jeff, for doing that. And you know, this equipment, you know, it had price tags of $10,000, $250,000, and as you can imagine, everyone did not buy this product sight unseen. So ultimately, during the sales cycle, they always said this: "Show me. I'd like to see it." So I had to present it. So I had to go through what I say is the #1 fear out there, which is, you know, public speaking. And I realized this is that I was afraid that they were going to ask me a question that I had no idea. So my thinking was this: if I could stay in front of their questions and really razzle-dazzle them by the way I'm communicating with them, then I'm going to satisfy those questions in their minds, and now that I could possibly move them from prospect to client, better yet, what I like to say is to a raving fan. And sure enough, that's exactly what I did. I developed a 26-point template that I share at my intensive, and using this template, in other words, using this communication tool, I was able to do revenues of over $1 million, and that's the revenues of $1 million per month. Now, I'm not saying this to impress you, but to impress upon you that if I could do this with equipment I don't have any idea about, I'm sure we could do it with our promotional items. From there, just to continue the story and wrap it up, I wrote a book, The Art of Public Speaking, How to Kill from the Stage with Confidence, Character, Charisma, and that led to my intensives and boot camps that I do twice a year here in the Los Angeles area, where we help you design and craft, market, and monetize your message. Speaking about your message, let's get into SuccessTracks and those 3 points. Today, this is what we're going to talk about. The 3 things I would like to share with you is this: questions. In particular, the questions you're going to ask yourself each and every time you go out and meet a prospect, even a client, even a raving fan. Also, we're going to talk about structure. Now, I don't know if if you are attendees here, if you ever give presentations. But again, I even feel that even if you're online at a Starbucks or speaking at a client's office, there is a presentation. We're always presenting ourselves. So what is that structure? What is that structure so that you could give a clear, concise message so that not only are you understood, not only are you entertaining, but there is a transaction. If you know one thing about the Sicilian Mentor is this: I coined the phrase transactional presentations. You may want to write that down. Transactional presentations. Yes, I said before I wanted to razzle dazzle them. But let me tell you something. I wanted their signature on the bottom line. I wanted their 16 digits and their expiration code. I wanted to create that transaction. I want them to walk away with my product, my service. So we're going to take a look at that structure. How exactly can you structure it for an informal meeting to a formal meeting to a full presentation when you're discussing your promotional items. And also we're going to talk a little bit about delivery. Yeah, it's all in the way you deliver it. So if you're ready, get those pens ready. I'm a big believer. I'm going to promise and over deliver. I'm going to give you a lot of information. Every now and then I'm going to say, hey, write this down so that you have this information to use from here at this point out. So let's continue now with SuccessTracks. The first thing I want to talk about is questions. Now these are questions that I even ask people that attend my bootcamp intensive. These are questions I want you to ask yourself. Why? I believe this: by having a solid foundation, you will see success. So you have to do a little work even before you head out the door to meet your prospects or clients. What are these questions? Well, these are the questions you're going to ask yourself. The first question you're going to ask yourself is this: what is my message? In other words, what is the message that I want my client, my prospect to understand? So you have to understand this. If we're not clear with our message, there's no way that our client will be clear with our message. We have to get it down in what I like to call, what I phrase, and I'm borrowing this from my years of working on Madison Avenue in New York City. And just to go into a little bit about that, because I think it will shed a little light on this. Madison Avenue, you got to figure that with Madison Avenue, with advertising, they only have anywhere from 30 seconds to 60 seconds to convince you to buy or to push you forward to buy. So you better believe it. When we were in those campaign meetings, we had to bring down our message to one sentence, and we created what we termed a log line. In other words, whether it is our presentation, whether it's a phone call to someone, we base everything that we're going to share with that individual based upon this log line. And I'll never forget, I definitely had the boss from hell. Because one time I walked in with the campaign, he read it, he crumpled up in a ball, and he threw it in my face, and he said this: "Hey, DiMino, if you can't write your idea on the back of my business card, you do not have an idea." So imagine, I was really trained to bring it on down to that one sentence. So that's exactly what I want you to do. Bring it down to that, really distill it down to that one sentence. What is that main idea that you would like to share with the next person to listen to, be it a prospect or a client? What do you want them to understand? What do you want them to walk away with? Because when it comes right down to it, ladies and gentlemen, it comes down to this: the money is in the message. You better believe it. If I say this, if they're not going to walk away buying today, I'm going to guarantee, I want to make sure that they know exactly what I stand for, what products I have, how the products will work with possibly the campaigns or the projects that they're working on. And not only that, what exactly do they need to do to move forward? You know, it just popped into my head, and this is pure salesman 101. Anytime that I spoke with anyone, be it impromptu, over the phone, or in a full presentation, I always made sure that I left with the next steps. I made sure that I knew exactly, okay, we discussed this. All right, the next time we'll meet, I'll give you a call in 2 or 3 weeks. I'll give you a call in 2 weeks. Let's be definite here, right? I'll give you a call in 2 weeks, and let's talk about these 5 promotional items, and let's move forward, because I know you have a big project coming up, and I want to make sure that you don't miss out on it. All right, so believe me, the money is in the message. What is your message? In fact, as we're going through this, I know when I attend webinars like this or sessions like this, I start getting ideas, and I'm going to encourage you to start capturing those ideas. Write them down. I know that, in fact, a quick side story. When I was invited to speak at TED, I had my presentation all ready to go. But as we're going along and I was finding out the parameters from my client, what they were looking forward to, They said that that they were looking for TED speakers that will go with the theme of the event. And the theme of the event was Illuminate Your Future. Let me tell you something. The presentation that I had crafted for TED did not match that at all. No worries. As they were discussing it, all of a sudden it popped into my head was, what's your story? In other words, I believe it's what your story, what your past is that will illuminate your future. And sure enough, by jotting that little quick note down, I started to develop what is my message. So again, by all means, if something pops into your head, by all means, capture it, write it down. So question number 1 is, what is your message? Question number 2 is, why are you passionate about this? Now, when I speak to people, I want to convert them into Sicilian speakers. No, I'm not talking about whacking people and putting contracts out on people. I'm talking about being passionate, really believing in what you say. You know, I saw this funny sign that says, I'm not sure if those two people are arguing or if they're Italians. And that's what it is. When it comes to Sicilians, man, it looks like they're in a full argument. Why? Because they're so passionate about what they're talking about. In fact, I say this, it shouldn't be a list. I would get a spiral notebook, yeah. Get a spiral notebook and write down everything, why you're passionate about this product line, these particular items, whatever it may be, the people that you represent. Why are you passionate about it? Even down to the basics, to make more money, to get a better house, to drive that new car, to make a difference in people's lives. I want to be that shining example. I want to be that shining example to a particular person in my life. I want you to create an entire spiral notebook of this. Why? Because let me tell you something. If you have 1 or 2 items that you're just passionate about, how do you think your enthusiasm will come across when you're speaking to your prospect or client? Let me tell you something. You should be so passionate that you are vibrating. You are just exhilarated. You're enthusiastic. And let me tell you something. Enthusiasm is highly contagious. And you definitely want your clients to become highly contagious. Again, pure salesman 101. What's the first thing they buy? Is it you or the product? Yes, that's right. It's you. So if you're enthusiastic, if you're a go-getter, they want to be part of that enthusiasm. They want to be part of that party. So what are you passionate about? Create that list. Develop that list. It's what I call this particular question. This is a living organism. In other words, you're going to keep adding to it, and it never ends because you want to come across as the most enthusiastic person when it comes to your particular product, when it comes to your particular product line. So again, question number 1 is, what is your message? Question number 2 is, why are you passionate about this? Now let's get down to business. Question number 3. What exactly do you want your audience to do? Now, again, I know I use the word audience, but it could be an audience of 1. It could be an audience of many. It could be in someone's living room, in a conference room, or in a stadium. The point is this. Be clear on your objective. If I may borrow from Stephen Covey on the 7 habits, the second habit is this. Begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. So in this case, when I'm presenting, when I'm communicating with my people, I am very clear. I am very clear what exactly I want my audience to do at the end of this presentation. Do I just want to get buy-in? Do I just want to get their email? Or do I want to have them sign this contract and purchase these particular items at this time? So I am crystal clear. I am crystal clear when it comes to what exactly do I want my audience to do at this presentation. Let me add that caveat. This question, yes, this question it is kinetic. In other words, it will move because every time you go to a different client, a different stage, whatever you want to call the base, you're going to have different wants, needs, and desires of those clients, those prospects, right? So this question has to change. So every time you set up a meeting, you put in your mind, this is, okay, what exactly do I want this individual to do at the end of this presentation? Be crystal clear on that. And the whole idea of this, and we're going to talk about this in structure, the whole idea of this is that's the reason for your presentation. I've seen even expert speakers, professional speakers, they're very good with the open. They're fantastic with the body, with the facts and figures and all that. And where they lose it is in the conclusion. And let me ask you something. Isn't that the whole point of your presentation, is to get to the conclusion? In other words, the opening, you know what, I'm getting ahead of myself because we're going to talk about the structure. So Just a quick review. I do believe that questions. I'm sure we've all heard from Scripture how how the truth will set you free. I'm a big believer that questions will set you free, and that's one of my points. I remember I was working with a client, Mary Simaluka. She's an executive producer of the film Victor and I, fantastic movie about Viktor Frankl, the gentleman that gave us Man's Search for Meaning of Life. And what she did is she was going out and just getting speaking opportunities. And after going through these questions and really honing it down to what exactly is my message, what do I want this audience, in other words, these decision makers, same thing that you're working with, what do I want to do with these decision makers that I want them to do next? Yes, I want them to bring me in and have me show my film and all that, but that's not the message she was talking about with the decision makers. And maybe it's the same idea, if I may, with promotional items. You know, again, you're talking to the decision maker to take in these promotional items, yes, and then they're going to use it for various events and all that. But what is their main objective? What do they want to get out of it? And it reminds me again, Pure Salesman 101. Everybody, they're tuned to one particular radio station, and that particular radio station is WIIFM. Does anybody remember what WIIFM stands for? Well, it stands for What's in it for me. And I do believe by going through these questions, what is your message? You're going to take care of what's in it for you. Yes, the presenter in this case, the giver of information. But also with question number 3, you're going to take into consideration your audience. What do they get out of it? You see, we have to get some basic understanding about the human being. There's a couple things about the human being, and that is this. They are self-centered. Sorry, be it good, bad, or indifferent, but human beings are self-centered. In other words, what's in it for me? What do I get out of it? And the other thing is that humans fear scarcity. And when I discuss this in my intensive, I go into these psychological areas because, again, when we go in front of our clients, when we go in front of our prospect, guess what happens? They put those walls up. They put those walls up of resistance because guess what? They know that you're there to sell them something. So what I got to do, what we have to do is we got to lessen those walls of resistance. So by understanding, by you being clear of what your message is, also if you come in with enthusiasm, with a smile on your face, and you're passionate about that message, again, it is contagious. And in particular, nobody wants to be led down a blind alley, be left out in the cold. They want to conduct business, and they want to have that verbal journey to get there. Now, I don't know if you caught it, but I said a very interesting phrase, and that is verbal journey. In fact, I like you to write that down. Because I know that when you present, when you go in front of an audience, and again, an individual, what have you, I know that you're not, maybe you don't even prepare, but yes, now I'm asking you to prepare. But I know that you're not going to hand them your presentation. I've given over 2,000 presentations, and I have yet to hand out the script to all the attendees, be it 1 to 1,000. So when we're speaking in front of people, even if it's impromptu, even if it's just improvised, I need to take them on this verbal journey. And how I envision it is that I reach out, I take their hand, and I take them to the finish line. Now I think that's a problem with a lot of speakers, that they take their audience just to the finish line. No, what I want you guys to do is this. Not only take them to the finish line, but I want you to smoke that finish line. I want you to take them way past that finish line, and I want you to make them raving fans. And that's exactly my mantra for 2013. I do not want clients. You do not want clients. You want raving fans. Why? Because now you have people going out there, exclaiming the virtues and how well you were taken care of, how well they were taken care of, and guess who they're going to promote? You. So now you could start a whole sales force just again by being clear with your message, by being passionate, by having that enthusiasm, and again taking your audience, that 1 person to 1,000, on this verbal journey and being quite clear of exactly what you want them to do at the end of this presentation. And I know with SuccessTracks, Jeff is going to open it up. And if I say something or do something, just jot down your question because we're going to have plenty of time after this to discuss your question. So I'm not going to leave you out in the cold. I am your Sicilian mentor, and I want to take good care of you. All right, so those are our questions. So the next thing we're going to talk about is structure. Structure. Exactly how do we put together this presentation? And let me say this. Even if it's off the cuff, meeting somebody for coffee, why not have a structure? Why not have a purpose? Why not maximize and, better yet, monetize every meeting? Why not? Now, again, the way I do it and the way I explain it on my intensive, you're not going to come across all salesy and all that. And trust me, when I'm working with my private clients, that's probably one of the first things that comes to mind. They feel that, okay, I got the structure now. I'm doing the questions. Now I feel like I'm coming across all salesy. And I say to them, the reason you feel that is because you know that you're using these various devices that I'm sharing with you, and that you have an objective here. You know exactly what you want your audience to do at the end of this presentation. Trust me, they're caught up into what's in it for me, the law of scarcity, and they're not getting that you're being salesy. So let's talk about the structure. Now, I know traditionally, in my training, I went to Toastmasters. Traditionally, we're taught that every presentation has an open, body, and close. And that is correct. Oh, if I could just back up a little bit, Toastmasters, fantastic organization. I highly recommend. What it is Toastmasters.org, and it's a service organization. And what they help you to do is they help you with your public speaking skills. So if you feel that you're not quite that public speaker, I highly recommend it. And also, on another side note, Jeff, I hope you don't mind all these side notes. Why not? Why not start speaking publicly? Why not? What I call is, why not put on informationals? This is a perfect opportunity right now to talk about structure. Why not put on informationals? Why not put on the value of promotional items, or how to secure a client, or how to produce an event? In other words, you're going to give an information-packed seminar. It could be a half an hour, 45 minutes, or up to 90 minutes. And I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, I got to sell promotional items. Yeah, trust me. During all this, you're going to be telling them about various items that you have. And not only that, by the end of it, guess who comes across? Guess who comes across as the expert? You are. Because you're sharing them this valuable information, you're bringing them on this verbal journey, and who best to work with than this person that gave you this fantastic information. And also, let's not forget the law of reciprocity. You gave them this great information, maybe they will give you business. So let's talk about the business of structure. Now, when we deliver, yes, when we present with open body close. Open body close. Yes, that's the way we present. Now, being Sicilian speakers, the way we write it down, the way we craft it, the way we put it on paper is different. Yes, I know in school and Toastmasters they teach us to write it out linearly. In other words, start with the hello, with the opening, work your way all the way to the close. Well, another thing about the human brain is this: it does not think linearly. I'm sure you would agree with me. Here, I'll give you an example. How about this? You're on Google, you're typing in some information that you're looking for, and next thing you know, it's a half an hour later, and you're watching kittens playing the piano. Now, why does that happen? Well, because the brain does not think linearly. Since it doesn't think linearly, let's help it and not think linearly. But again, let's go in line with what we discussed earlier. Remember question number 3? What exactly do you want your audience to do at the end of this presentation? So what I do is I scramble these around, and how I craft my message, how I write it down is this. I write down the close first. Yes, the close, because isn't that the whole objective of this? The whole objective of this, ladies and gentlemen, is to get to the close and create that transaction. And again, that transaction could just be simply of buying into an idea, of getting their email address, getting more information from them, or quite simply to get that order. So I tell my bootcamp attendees that craft out the close. What exactly do you want them to do? Craft out the close. Now, the other reason I say craft out the close and write it out is this. I know when people go into the close. How do I know that? How do I know that they're going into the pitch portion of their presentation? Well, they speed up and their voice goes up a couple of octaves. Why? Because they know they're about to ask for money. And probably one of the most difficult things we could do is ask a total stranger for money to open up their wallets or get that signature or definitely make a decision on this contract. So now by crafting out, by writing out the close and practicing it, now it should give you elegance and ease that when you move out of the body into the close, you know exactly what you need to say. So structure the close. And to go into it, again, about clarity, ask for the sale. Ask for the sale. At my intensive, I spend a good 90 minutes just on this one particular thing because it's been researched and it's been shown that we fail to ask for the sale. I go so far as that throughout my presentation, I do this thing called seeding, where it's little, like trial closes. Just bring them. I'm bringing them on this verbal journey. Why? Because I'm going to get to my close, and I am going to ask for the sale. So definitely in the close, make sure you have crafted out asking for the sale. And some people ask me, they say this, my coaching clients, they say, do I have to just say this is what I need? And sometimes, sometimes plain English is the best thing you could do. All right, clarity, clarity. The next thing you're going to be working on is the opening. Why? Why is this second and not the body? Well, I feel this is where the most new information is going to be presented. Possibly the person's name that you're going to be meeting with, or the names of the committee that you're meeting with, the name of their organization, the name of their event. And let me tell you something. Nothing sounds as sweet as to someone's ear than the sound of their voice and the sound of their name. So let's make sure we're saying their name right, in particular what exactly they're working on, the event, the campaign, whatever it may be. So I really craft out the open as much as possible. Also, during the opening, you have that little chit-chat with people, but when you get into that presentation, remember I talked about those walls of resistance? Well, let me tell you something. We all know when we say, okay, let's begin, zoop, those walls of resistance go up. So it's during the opening where we have to lower that wall of resistance. And the best way to do it is to gain their attention. You may want to write this down. Gain their attention. Because, well, I would love to share with you my two favorite numbers, 8 and 3. 8 and 3. The 8 stands for 8 seconds. 8 seconds. That's all it takes to make a first impression. So within that first 8 seconds, I got to make my best positive impression. Why? Because one of the hardest things to do is to take a negative first impression and try to turn it around. You could be the best person on this planet. If somebody makes that first impression and it's negative, it's contrary, trust me, you have your work cut out for you to turn it around. So why not get that first impression? Now, me being Sicilian, let me tell you something. It's hard enough for me even say even hello in the first 8 seconds. So I know this, that within the first 8 seconds, what are they judging me on? What are they going to say yes or no to about me? Well, the first thing is my appearance. Yes, my dress, how well I'm groomed. And I say this, anytime that I meet with an audience, and again, this audience could be 1 to 1,000, I try to do a little research on them, so much so that I get their age, their demographics and all that, and I would like to dress not the same as them, but just a little bit better. All right, because again, as soon as I start speaking, as soon as I start presenting, I am seen as someone that's an expert in that field. So even our dress communicates that. Even, let me tell you something, even for today's webinar, I got dressed for it. Right? So Jeff, I got dressed for you. Is that okay? So definitely. So 8 is 8 seconds. What else? Not only is it about your dress.
Yeah, I absolutely got dressed for you, Maurice.
Yeah, I saw that, Jeff. Thank you so much. So yeah, it is about dress. Also within that first 8 seconds, let me give you a tip. I know for some people out there, public speaking is their #1 fear. They do not like it at all. But as I said, remember the #1 skill to have is communication, is to speak your mind. So know this. Here's two little techniques you can use to tell the audience that you are confident. And what that is this. Smile and eye contact. Smile and eye contact. Trust me, when I first started speaking, even to this day, I still get nervous. But I know that if I'm smiling, again, that's that passion, question number 2. You see how everything relates back to those questions? Yeah, if I'm passionate about it, I'm immediately smiling, right? So again, that's one signal. I give them eye contact. Trust me, when I first started, it looked like I was looking over everyone's head because I didn't want to see, I don't want to make any eye contact, right? I don't want to make anybody, make fun of me or what have you. And trust me, 10 minutes, half an hour, a day of that, of me looking over people's heads, it would just drive them to the doors. So I would force myself to eye contact. Eye contact. Just those 2 things, ladies and gentlemen, just those 2 things tells the audience that you are confident, that you're ready to go. Now, the next number, 3 minutes. This is key, in particular in a presentation. That 3 stands for 3 minutes. In other words, within the first 3 minutes, your audience, they're going to decide whether they're going to listen to you or mentally check out. In other words, the lights are on and nobody's home. So you better believe it. We have our work cut out for us when we go to present to our clients, in particular to our prospects, to gain their attention. So we definitely want to gain their attention in the opening. So that's why I put it as the second thing that I'm going to craft out, really work on, really massage it, and really get it down to that it's snappy, I'm getting their attention, it's enthusiastic, and again, it is clear. My message is clear. Now, if you notice, what I'm leaving last, and also, if I may add this, least, is the body. I've seen so many people go out with their products, with their services, and they give me every feature set. They give me every benefit, and I get lost in the sauce. Let me tell you something about the human brain. It can only handle lists of up to 3 items. Once you go past that 3rd feature, that 4th feature, that 5th feature, that whatever that benefit, trust me, they're still working on 1, 2, and 3. So why not, when you're delivering this feature, why not support it? Why not support it with a story? Why not support it how to use it? Why not support it with how a customer or a client is currently using it? In other words, bring them on that verbal journey, right? Make them visualize it, make them see it. And also what I like to say is this, I leave that for least. Why? Because if I do make a presentation, I do not want to come across canned. I want to come across that it's real and it's happening. And let me tell you something. I do have to call the elephant in the room. This is real and happening. I know that every now and then I have that thing pop up on my screen. Please forgive me. Like I said, I am computer illiterate. I have no idea what's going on there. But I'm staying true to my message. Why? Because I have structure to it. Right? I've done my homework. I prepared these slides, and I prepared my message. I'm very clear on my message. So every time that pops up, it doesn't throw me. I just hit the little X. It's gone, and I continue. Same thing with
excuse me, you need to get a 16-year-old kid to come in and figure out how to,
Exactly. It'll be done in 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, we need a kid.
Jeff, I definitely believe it. It's definitely got to be. There it is again. It's got to be that 16-year-old person. Definitely, I agree with you. So with the body, guess what? You're the expert on your products, your items, whatever it is that you represent. I would rather have you talk from the heart than rattle off a bunch of facts and figures. Right? You've done the homework. You know what these items do, what they represent, how people could use them, where the verbiage goes on the various parts of the items. So why not leave this less and just speak from your heart? Again, I would rather have someone that is in the conversation with me than speaking at me. So there you have it. There you have it. In other words, when you're crafting out your message, you craft the closeout first, because that's the whole point of this. I'm bringing them on this verbal journey to get them to the close. So I want to make sure that's clear, that's succinct, and to the point. Then I develop my opening. I want to grab their attention. I have 8 seconds to make a first impression. I have 3 minutes to keep them awake mentally. And then the body, I'm going to speak from my heart. Because again, I'm going to allow that passion to come through and let people understand and enjoy. But let's be clear. I got to look down here for a second. I just want to be clear. That's how you write it out. That's how you write your presentation, even if it's impromptu, even if it's improvised. That's how you write it out. But when you present it, let's be clear now, when you present it, yes, you go back to the traditional way of open, body, and close. And let me tell you something. When you have developed the structure in this way, you know exactly what your verbal journey is. You're beginning with the end in mind. Now you're satisfying those 3 questions. Do you see now why we discussed those 3 questions? And now with the structure of these 3 items, beautiful. Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if you noticed it, but the theme is 3 on 3, so I'm really giving 9 items. Is that okay if I'm over-delivering?
Well, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Just go with your the 9 items. Just keep it rolling there.
You got it. So the third thing we're going to talk about is delivery, exactly how to present yourself. This is the verbal part of communication. And what I want to discuss with you is this: how messages are received. How messages are received. And there it is. That's, in other words, when someone's listening to you, how they comprehend your message. 7% comes from the words that come out of your mouth. But look at this. 38% comes from the tone of voice, and 55% comes from your body language. So if you take a look at it, 93% of comprehension, in other words, when somebody understands what you're saying to them, 93% of comprehension comes from your tone of voice and your body language. So you better believe it. You better be passionate. You better be firing on all cylinders. And also I say this, by really preparing yourself, by using that structure that we just discussed before, by doing the homework, by answering those questions, you have it set. You have the word set. So now guess what you could be? You could be present. You could be in that present moment, right? So you've set that 7%. Now you can focus on your tone of voice and your body language, making sure that you're smiling, making sure you're giving eye contact, making sure you're, relaying to people, allowing them to interact if they want, right? So that's how a message is received. So now you're in the present moment. You have your words. How well are you delivering those words? Again, it's your tone of voice and your body language. But I want to make this.
Maurice,
I want to make this point.
Maurice,
yes.
I just want to jump in here when you're talking about that whole thing of how you deliver your message, and this is another really pitch for Toastmaster, and that's how I met you, because you are an award-winning Toastmaster, and this whole idea of your tone of voice and your body language. Now, for me, I get really excited, and I'm like, the whole thing in Toastmasters, don't use your hands so much, but I clearly am a passionate speaker that needs to be toned down, and so I really appreciate what you're saying here, because it's like, it's not so much the words, it's really how you deliver those words, and I thought I would just comment on that, because body language and all that stuff, I need to be less body language, but most people probably have the opposite problem.
I agree with you. It's definitely how are you relating to people, and as I said before, you know what, people, your audience, they don't want you to be word perfect. Do you realize that? They want to know what your message is. They want to understand what you're about. So again, it's that tone of voice. It's to be present in the room. Just real quickly, when I was giving that, when I was at TED, one of the other speakers was talking. Then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of chairs fell down. And he said, well, even when you hear chairs falling down, that's part of reality. In other words, he incorporated it into his presentation. You know what that proved to me? That proved to me that he was in the room. He was in the room with us. He wasn't just going through his prepared presentation and just hitting the points, but he was in the room paying attention to us. And if I could say this, when it comes to your clients, when it comes to your prospects, even when you're in presentation mode, you got to really make sure that you're still there with them. And again, by doing all this homework, getting the words down, you could do that with your tone of voice and your body language. Now, having said that,
I agree.
Thank you. Having said that, I don't want to say that we give the words the short end of the stick, because whenever it comes right down to it, what drives the message, ladies and gentlemen, what gets the people across that finish line, and let's smoke that finish line, you better believe it, 100% comes from the words. Again, exactly what are the words you're sharing with them? See, it's a little bit different. That's delivery. Now, this is what drives the message, what brings them across the finish line, and it is your words. And I'm a big believer that inside each and every one of us, when it comes to your product line, you do have that $1 million message inside of you. So what I want you to do is I want you to take this information, I want you to use it, do your homework, do your questions, set the structure, craft that message, deliver it at 100%, and see your bottom line results increase. So on that, I want to say thank you and ciao.
Wow. So we want to open the floor to anybody that has any questions, and clearly, being in the promotional marketing industry, we have the opportunity to really solve problems and ask questions. And I've always been one that is focused on being a solutions provider, and how can we help meet the need as opposed to just being a seller of stuff. So if you have any questions, by the way, you can just go ahead and type them in there, and we'll go ahead and get those answered. But what I've really discovered is, as much as I'm focused on selling solutions, part of what goes on in this industry is just product and price. And I must say that after all the years I've been publishing FreePromoTips, which has been since 2005, actually, my goal has always been hey, let's help show the solution to the product, but sometimes it's just about product and price, which frustrates me, but that's what our industry is about. And so I'll give you folks who are watching a little heads up on GP2. That is coming really soon, and we're addressing that. And I again want to thank our amazing sponsors, Phil Martin, terrific guy there from Warwick Publishing. If you go to a trade show and you can go chat with Phil Martin, this guy is a character. That's why we get along so well. Him and I are like on the same page. And of course, Snugs USA, just an amazing company, and also AIA, our good friends over there, Rebecca Coleman and David Woods. It's with the support of those companies that we bring you this content and everything that happens with Free Promo Tips, our commentary, our education. So we appreciate that. And also Evans Manufacturing for kicking up the cookware. Now again, Maurice, you don't have the cookware because Grandma has it and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love it. It's so versatile, so useful. When you said that we're going to receive it, I was like, okay, a little something here, a little something there. Totally functional, totally being used in the kitchen now. So thank you, Evans.
Right, and we do have a question coming in here from someone, and that is, she wants to know, what is your favorite topping on a pizza? This is very relevant to the conversation. So we're talking, Sicily and all that stuff.
Well, definitely when it comes to pizza, I love my pizza, and probably my favorite topping is actually sausage. If I could say, my favorite topping is sausage, but moving here to Los Angeles, what absolutely drives me crazy is the Hawaiian pizza. I don't know how I'm all for the ham, but the pineapple chunks, no way. You won't find a true Sicilian having pizza with pineapple chunks on it. So that's my favorite pizza.
Interesting point there. I confess to sort of liking it, but I imagine in the Sicilian world it's like sacrilegious, because you can't do Hawaiian pizza, and not to go down the food road, but what about Greek pizza? There they got the whole, you got the Sicilians probably really don't like that. Now, so just in wrapping it up, you are the Sicilian Mentor. What does that mean? I mean, are you like mentoring people? What are you doing there with that?
Well, as I made mention, that whole thing is that, again, I want people to be passionate. I want people to care. I want people to belong to a community, and that's what that's about, Sicilian. And my message is this: I know that each and every one of you out there, you do have that message written in your heart. Better yet, it's $1 million message. And so what I help people, Jeff, is to craft that $1 million message. In order to take it out, I have a 26-point template that I share at my intensives. And what I teach people is, by having this template, by having this roadmap, you know exactly how to deliver it. Again, we talked about what delivers the message is the words. So by following this template, by exactly writing down, knowing what to say next, first off, it alleviates a little bit of the butterflies, because you know what you're going to say next. And not only that, it drives the people to the conclusion, and as I said earlier, it makes them go through that finish line. And I'm all about the transactional presentation. I want people to present. I want people to buy into your ideas. Better yet, I want them to buy your products.
Right, absolutely. And a comment is coming over here from Donna, and Donna is just saying she's Sicilian. So hey, you're a family there.
Donna.
She has a hard time resisting the salty sweet combo. And here's figs are another great addition. So now I've not tried the figs, but there's a whole thing about figs and the little seeds and the figs. Wow. I mean, yeah. Wow. Any other comments about pizza? I really appreciate really that concept that you had shared, Maurice, about being a Sicilian communicator, and that really relates to being passionate and how you communicate. And I think you said something along the lines of, is it just Italians talking, or are they arguing? You know,
yeah, like, exactly.
We just sometimes we're just so ho hum in our,
yeah.
Well,
if I may,
yeah, go ahead.
No, if I may, you said a point when it comes. You said before that usually in your industry, it just comes down to price, price and product, price and quantity. I'm just wondering, again, by coming across passion, enthusiastic, yeah, how can you get passionate about a pen? How can you get passionate about a snow globe or whatever, or a coffee mug? But just imagine, again, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Why not stand out from the competition? That is just about price. Why not be enthusiastic? Why not be Sicilian? Why not going in there, being prepared, instead of just going to the catalog, rattling off a bunch of catalog numbers, item numbers, prices, and moving on? Why not share that, be that informational person, be that font of information? So be Sicilian.
Yeah, I have just a real world story to share, and we have time, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Actually, before I do that, I want to get to questions here. Then I'll tell my real world story, which really ties exactly to this topic. But Brenda is asking, how do you determine how many stories to use in a presentation? Great question.
Wow, Brenda, thank you so much. Great stories. Now, if you remember, there's three parts to the speech, right? Open, body, and close. So what I'm thinking is that, again, depending upon my audience, better yet, depending upon how much time I have, Brenda, how much time I have is going to really judge how much content I put in there. So let's say if I have plenty of time, I may include a story in the opening. Why? Because again, it's an attention getter. I'm going to possibly include a story in the conclusion. Why? Maybe it's a testimonial. Maybe it's an example, somebody using or placing this order. So again, a story is a great way to do that. And definitely in the body, remember I said we're going to share facts and figures and all that? Well, again, we're going to share a fact, a figure, a statistic, what have you, and I can't think of a better way to support it, to move it along, than with a story. Either how to use it, a testimonial, a success story, that type of thing. So that's a very good question. I never thought of that. Yeah, we could strategically place our story throughout our presentation, but again, let's make it work for us. So we're going to place those stories in strategic places.
And it's really then kind of based on the amount of time you have.
Oh, definitely.
Because if you have less time, then you have less chance for stories. But stories are certainly compelling. Wow, good stuff. Here's another comment. Valerie says she's had good feedback from clients about my message, passion, proactive on client questions, but still seems to come down to competing with the internet prices while providing service and expertise not provided by internet companies. How do I combat that, especially in our economically depressed area? This is like everybody. I'm a distributor. I publish for FreePromoTips. I get this. Almost every deal that comes my way is, I found this online. This and that. It's a tough one, and not understanding our industry, Maurice. How would you realize everybody's buying online? I buy online,
yeah.
Some things, but sometimes it's worth. And I do have to share this because it ties to this. I actually paid more for our GoToWebinar program because of the connection I made with this sales guy who actually became ill and is emailing me from his hospital bed about how's GoToWebinar working for you. And we went through some bad programs, and actually I had the opportunity through an email offer to buy this program for less. But I go, no, I want this Steve to be taken care of on this, and he was, and so forth. But not knowing our industry, do you have an answer to this whole internet and the question that's been posed here?
No, that's a good question. And again, when I was in pure sales, and also even with my speaking, what I try to do is I try to be the first one to bring up those type of objections. So instead of waiting for them to do it, because now they're building up all the steam, all this muster, and all this, that, oh my God, I could get that, I can get, twice that on the internet. So what I do is, if I know that that's going to be an objection, if that's going to be a sore point, what I'll do is I will bring up that objection first. I will say, yeah, you may be able, yeah, again, I'm full forward. I'm being Sicilian. I'm being tough here. So I may bring it up first and say, look, you may be able to find this online, but again, you're talking about, and you got to figure out what are the key phrases, what are the key terms to combat that. Is it delivery? You heard Jeff say the story about, customer service, people checking in, making sure it's right, correcting it, getting proofs, getting samples, that type of thing. So yes, find out what your objections are. And again, I believe this: I would rather be in front of the curveball than behind the curveball. So I'll bring it up first, and then trust me, I'll have 3 or 4 stories, facts, figures to knock it down.
Yeah, and Donna, Valerie, to speak to that, one of the things that you can use is product safety and dealing with suppliers. The fear of God. There's a whole deal with product safety and product recalls, and really does the company really know who they're dealing with? And we've had this happen, and where people have gone online and done it, and we've been called in to rescue the situation because, for whatever reasons, it didn't work well. And that's not to say it always goes wrong online, but there are certain tangible things that we bring to the table, and I would use product safety and using suppliers. Many of them are quality QCA certified, like Snugs and some other companies, but most of our suppliers do offer products that they will deem certified safe, and that's an important thing. They don't know where they're going to get the stuff online, if that's helpful. And one of the things I want to talk about, the power, this is just going back quickly to this, really the importance of what we do. I was just with a client. They're celebrating their 35th anniversary, and I've been very blessed with just a flurry of awesome business. And this is a guy that has 5 businesses and about 225 employees, and his position is he wants to really bless them. They're having their big celebration, and we did really nice camp chairs, and we did bags and towels and shirts and just a collection of really great stuff. And yesterday he took me for a tour of his facility and his golf cart there of his 4 buildings, and I was in awe at what the operation was. And he told me, he said, some of my people don't understand about this money that I'm dropping, which has been over 25 grand in business. So thank you, Lord. It's been nice business. But he says, they say, just give them money. And what I was able to share with him is, while I was waiting for him downstairs and all the goods were in the room, some of the employees, and these are just factory blue collar type people, they were passing by and they're looking in the room and they go, wow, that's really cool. And if you were to divide out that money in cash, which would be taxable to whoever gets it, and then it's gone and they have it, it's not going to have the same impact as these things when they're at the soccer game and they pull out that company's a chair that they're using, and the cooler bag that they have, and the beach towels, and all that stuff that lasts. So it's exciting, the industry that we're in. And I want to just share one other story. When I was at a trade show, I found, and this is the same client as I'm with him yesterday, and I found a company that does lucite, all custom, made in the USA lucite embedding, and you can take something and you embed it in the lucite. And this guy's a manufacturing company, so I said, look, you could take and make something that really reflects on your company, one of the parts you make, and we could customize them. You could just do a small number of these for your key clients and employees and personalize them. And originally he didn't really get it. He goes, well, my workers, they wouldn't like that. I go, no. This is about providing something that's super commemorative. And he said, well, could you, etch on the glass and stuff? And I said, of course we can, but we want you to make something and put it in these 20 pieces that you're going to give out to key people. And all of a sudden he got it. And I said, look, I'm not here. I don't just sell you stuff. I mean, this is just something I'm bringing to the table. I saw this. I thought it was beneficial to your business. So, and then he got it, and he goes, yeah, let me see, what we could make that goes in there. So, like, I'm not the stuff guy. This guy is not going to go online and go buy product. And that's, again, based on the relationship. So sorry for that long, drawn-out, winded thing there.
Well, no, that's a point to be made, and it is relationship, relationship marketing, relationship business. And again, people are going to judge their relationship on how well you communicate with them. So hopefully, our time together gave you little tips and techniques on to help you to be that Sicilian presenter.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much, Maurice, and we're going to have you back to do some additional content, and we do want to hear from you. Let us know what topics you'd like to have covered. Let us know what you thought of this session, and you can email Jeff at FreePromoTips.com, and we really want to deliver the very best material we can. So right on time here. Thank you so much for attending, and hey, make it a great day.
Ciao.
Yeah, ciao. That's what I got to do.